is old Jasper from the Junkman Reviews. I got something I want to share with you today. Juan told this joke yesterday at lunch while we were eating pizza, and I said, boy, that's a pretty good joke. I just might have to just share that with my people. So here goes. This lady was turning 50 years old, and she was feeling a little self-conscious about herself. So she decides that she's going to do something for herself, and she's going to get a facelift. So she was released on her 50th birthday. And as she looks in the mirror before she's getting ready to leave the hospital room, she says, boy, I sure look good. I wonder how old people think I am. So as she was leaving the hospital, there was a newspaper stand in the lobby. So she walks up to the gentleman and she says, how old do you think I am? And the gentleman looks at her and he goes, boy, you sure are pretty. You can't be no older than 29 years old. She smiled all giddy and she says, no, sir, today I am 50 years old. And she turns around and she walks out the hospital doors. A block or two away, she sees a small candy stand and she says, boy, she says, I deserve some candy to look as good as I do. So she walks up and she gets a couple small pieces of candy and she hands them to the girl behind the cash register. She says to the girl, how old do you think I am? And the girl says, well, you're no older than 33 years old. And she smiled all giddy and she says, today I am 50 years old. And she turns around and she starts walking away. Well, another block or two up the street, she runs across a McDonald's and she says, that candy was sure good, but I am hungry. That hospital food was horrible. So she goes into McDonald's. She stands in line and she gets up and there's a young boy behind the counter. So she orders her little Happy Meal and she says to the boy, she says, how old do you think I am? And the boy goes, you're no older than 35 years old. And she smiled all giddy again and she said, I'm 50 years old today. So she sits down and she eats her Happy Meal. Well, she gets up, she leaves, she's walking down the street, and this older gentleman passes her. And so she says to him, sir, how old do you think I am? And the gentleman turned around and looked at her and he says, ma'am, he goes, I'm 78 years old. He goes, my eyesight is horrible. I can't tell anything. He says, but I do know one surefire way to tell the age of a woman. And she goes, oh, really? How's that? And he goes, I have to grab her breasts. She goes, what? He goes, yes, ma'am, that's the only way. He goes, I have to grab her breasts. So she looks around and there weren't a lot of people on the street. So she says, okay, go ahead. So he puts his hands underneath her shirt, into her bra, and he starts squeezing on her breast. And he mashes them together and he starts squeezing on her nipples. And he pulls them up and he pulls them apart. Then he pulls his hands out and he says to the lady, he goes, you're 50 years old. The lady was shocked. She goes, oh my God, you have to tell me how you know. He says, I was behind you in line at McDonald's. Well, this is old Jasper. Y'all have a good one. I'm out.